turning, toy passion burning. Rudy's a zoo, Rudy's a zoo. YouTuber vlogging, backwards cap wearing. Rudy's a zoo, Rudy's a zoo. Rudy's a zoo.
Hi, and welcome to Rudy Sassu's Science Fantasy Experience, and to an episode of Let's Talk. Let's Talk is my thoughts, my opinions, my likes, my dislikes, and my experience of pop culture. So, let's talk Jayce and the World Warriors.
Thundering across the stars to save the universe from the monster minds. Jayce searches for his father to unite the magic root and lead his lightning league to victory over the changing form of Sawboss. Wheeled warriors explode into battle. Lightning strikes.
There's a power that comes from deep inside of you. It's every day reaching toward the light. And you know there's a long way ahead of you. But when your wills get you there, things will turn out right. Just keep on turning, don't stop rolling. The fire is on. We're burning, the drums burning, our wheels moving, we're burning. Just keep on turning, don't stop rolling. The fire is on. The drums burning, our wheels moving, we're burning.
Oh my god, how awesome is the intro and theme tune. It's just so hard rocking and electro at the same time. You know, it's the inspiration for my own intro music that Junkie Dave did for me. I think it could well be the best theme music from an 80s cartoon, definitely, for sure. Don't get me wrong, the Mask one is really, really good, but I think maybe Jayce and the World Warriors takes it. You know, it was done by Suki Levy, and he is just an absolute legend in the 1980s theme tunes. And it's really evocative of the time, and it just sets you up for the actual episode. Just from the imagery that you see, you know, that you're going to get so much action, and you're going to get to see all the vehicles and all the well developed characters. It's just, when I hear the opening introduction where the narrator tells a little bit of like the premise of it, it's just so good with that deep voice, and then suddenly the beat kicks in. It's awesome. It's so awesome. And then you just get into the cartoon, and what a cartoon. It's one of my all-time favourite cartoons of all time. When I first saw it in 1985, it absolutely blew me away, you know, and it's one of the cartoons from that time period where it had a complete arc all the way through. You know, there's 65 episodes, and it had a long running kind of story arc all the way through, that it just, every episode just delves deep and deep into the mythos of the route that both his father and Jayce himself have, and how they need to be reunited, and they've got to battle against the monster minds that his father accidentally created through that sun flare. And you know, with 65 episodes, there's time for spotlights on each character, and you get to learn a little bit more of the history of the Lightning League. You know, how it was an actual league, you know, hundreds of years before. And if I talk about the characters before I get onto the vehicles, because the vehicles are the real stars of the show for me. In terms of the characters, it's a tried and tested formula. You know, you've got the young hero, you've got the wise older gentleman with perhaps some sort of mystical power, and then you've got the lovable rogue. Sound familiar? Yeah, I think so. You know, it's just after Star Wars. You know, I think, was it Empire Strikes Back was 81 or 80, and then Return of the Jedi 83. So, you know, there's the definite Star Wars influence over quite a few cartoons and products of the time. And, you know, as I said, it's a tried and tested formula. They know it's gonna work. And then there's, you know, a character that you can identify with, you know, of all ages. And Herc Stormsailor, the lovable rogue, it is blatantly Han Solo. You know, he's got his own ship, the Pride of the Skies. Gillian, you know, the wise old wizard, and Jayce, you know, the young hero with his own little celestial knight. You know, that's type of R2-D2 character. And then you've got Flora and Brock, you know, just to add some extra little element for younger children. It has all the elements that make up, you know, some of the best storytelling in cartoons of that time. And then you've got the monster minds, the enemies, and I don't know if it's the animated style. You know, it's so well animated. You know, I think it was 4 or 5 Japanese animated studios. I feel like is it Shine and Shaft, and there's one more that's really Swan Productions, and they were just the epitome of Japanese animation at the time. And then it was, you know, done by Dick, the big American animation production studio, and it's just, they animated the bad guys just so well, the monster minds, that, you know, they're pretty frightening to a 6 or 7 year old Rudy, just with the colours and in some ways the types of weapons that they have. You know, they've got saw blades and, you know, snapping jaws, and they're really, really sinister. It's a great kind of juxtaposition to how the heroes are, you know, and both sides have kind of got, you know, they're not all just super goody or very, very bad. You know, as he is, it's a lovable rogue. He's got a past. You know, Jayce is inexperienced. You know, Gillian's quite whimsical. So, you know, they're not the super duper, you know, heroes. They have got their own foibles, and the same goes with the bad guys, the monster minds. You know, some of them are quite comedic because, you know, they're lower down the chain of command, and then Sawboss himself is just an absolute tyrant. So yeah, that's the, you know, the characters that come with that. And then you've got all the vehicles. You know, you've got Armed Force and Drill Sergeant, Spike Trike, Quick Draw, you know, Trailblazer, the big 4-legged one that you see in the intro, and the Battle Base. You know, you don't really tend to see Trailblazer and the Battle Base in the show. It's very much the wheeled warriors that you see, and they're just such interesting vehicles just to look at, and the continuity of the way that they are with, you know, the kind of the same cream colours, the silver or gold wheels, the different types of lasers. You know, it's fluid, and that's what I like from a cartoon. Just a few weeks back, I was on a website that was talking about vintage cartoons, and the guy was blogging, and he managed to come across a He-Man magazine from 1985, and he'd kind of taken a couple of screen grabs because there was a few pages that had an animated storyboard of like the first episode just inside a He-Man magazine, and it's done in a really interesting and somewhat slightly like naive art style. So it's kind of different to how the show is, but I'd be blown away to go and get a magazine and then find a Jayce and the Wheeled Warriors cartoon strip, and then there's this iconic pictures done from shots from the episode and the intro. But you know, it's slightly more kind of, you know, because it's done in a comic strip style, it's still just as well animated, and I mean by facial features, and you get to see all the vehicles. And then with the final part of the screen grab, it tells you when it's going to be on the TV, where it's going to air. So obviously this is an American one, and I think it says airs in May or sometime. Oh no, Monday, September the 16th. Check your local TV listings for stations and times, which is super interesting thing to come across just on a whim a few weeks ago when I was looking at nostalgia things in my life. In terms of me watching the cartoon though, it used to be on a Sunday morning on Channel 4. I think it was on probably about 7:30, 8 o'clock. And Channel 4 was incredible for cartoons growing up. I think they must have started at about 7 o'clock until maybe about 10 on Channel 4, and then you got into the realms of the 60s Batman show and The Land of Giants and Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. But I would be up at 7 o'clock in the morning with my bowl of cereal, just watching cartoons galore and hoping that the next episode of Jayce and the Wheeled Warriors would be on. It was what I looked forward to on the weekend, is that Sunday morning cartoon time. And one of the vivid memories I have is kind of slightly forgetting about Jayce and the Wheeled Warriors until maybe 92, 93 when The Big Breakfast came on with Chris Evans and I feel like it's Gabby Roslin. And that started on a Monday to Friday, 7 till 9. But Channel 4 must have still had the rights to show Jayce and the Wheeled Warriors, because at 6:30 it was on. And I just couldn't believe it. It had not been on TV for years and years, and it was kind of an odd thing for an 80s cartoon to be on. The 4 channels that we had at the time. You know, if you had Sky, you had Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon and all that, those types of very cartoon based channels that you could still kind of get bits and pieces like that through Sky, through satellite TV, but I didn't have satellite TV, so seeing it again, you know, in the mid-90s was incredible. And again, I would be setting my alarm for 6:20 in the morning to watch it before I get ready for school. It's always been a part of me, my love of Jayce and the Wheeled Warriors, from watching it, from listening to the theme tune over and over again, and as of last year, finally obtaining 2 of the toys, which I had waited, pretty much all my life to get Wheeled Warrior toys. I didn't know they existed until the late 90s, when I got more interested in becoming a toy collector. And I'd been collecting Star Wars figures, Power of the Force 2, and I'd kept a few of my old toys before I donated a big part of my collection to a hospice for people with terminal illnesses. So kids could enjoy the toys that I had and give them some enjoyment until they passed. So I'd kept a few bits and pieces, and I'd got my burgeoning Power of the Force collection, and I thought, I'm getting much more into toy collecting. And I'd picked up toy magazines, and the emergence of the internet, I found that there were actual wheeled warrior toys, and I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that they actually existed at the time. And because I didn't know they existed back in 1985, I used to make Armed Force and Drill Sergeant Spike Trike out of Lego and try and get them as close as I could to the show. Part of me wishes I had taken photographs of my Lego models back then, because I'd love to know how close I did get to what they looked like, because they probably didn't at all. But in my memory and at the time, I thought, oh yeah, they're just like the show. But yes, I last year I managed to pick up what I class as a holy grail, and that is Drill Sergeant and Armed Force from Mattel's Wheeled Warriors, and they are the pride, no pun intended, of my collection. You know, you wait years and years to get a toy sometimes, and you can build up that anticipation, and you know it can fall flat on its face, because you've built them up so much, because it is a holy grail and you've wanted it for so long that it doesn't deliver what you thought it might. But these deliver it in abundance. They are some of the best toys I have ever seen, and they are incredibly screen accurate, but they will be, because the toys came out a year before, and obviously they're just wheeled warrior toys, so you don't actually get any of the characters, because the characters were developed for the show, but they come with wheeled warrior pilots, which are done in like a tiny scale. The usual toys of the time, 3 3/4 scale, and these are even smaller than Mask figures, but they do just the same thing. You can have them right inside, and they are all modular. So here is Drill Sergeant. He's had a bit of an issue. And you can interchange the wheels and all the weapons, and you can make play exactly how you want. So you can literally pop them off and place them wherever you see fit. And they're full of silver and gold plastic, which obviously scares the hell out of toy collectors, because you worry that you're going to open them one day or play with them and they're going to crumble to dust. But the chrome and the gold plastic on my examples is absolutely second to none. To finally own them after all this time, it absolutely is fulfilling. That the journey that I have from the theme tune to the cartoon to the comic to the toy, it's a progression that's built over time, and as I said, they absolutely do not disappoint. But the fun doesn't stop there. I had obviously seen them online, and I'd seen them in the box. I did not know that they came with their own comic books, and it tells a little story. So this is The Adventure of Armed Force, and it's a fold out that tells you a tiny bit of the story, where he's exploring some ruins, and then Sawboss comes along, or I think he's actually called Tyrant in terms of the actual toy, and attacks him. But from what I can understand is these are like gold dust, because they have a sheet that tells you the exact accessories that come with each vehicle. Because, you know, they're accessories that get lost, sadly. And if you are interested in buying them, and you are a completionist, I can understand why these are gold, because it tells you specifically what comes with each vehicle. And the same goes for Drill Sergeant. Drill Sergeant is called The Daring of Drill Sergeant. If you have a look at the artwork, you can see the monster mine starting to attack and encase Drill Sergeant. And I love that the artwork it's completely different to the cartoon and the bits that I showed earlier. And once again, this has got all the accessories that come with him. You get 3 different wheels, slick wheels, rugged off-road tyres, and as I said, they're all interchangeable, they're different sizes. It's an incredible toy line, and I'm so happy to finally own them. It's a very complete franchise in terms of theme, storytelling, music. I know, even the score and the toys, it's all encapsulated into one, and it makes for almost the perfect cartoon for me. So those have been my thoughts and my experiences of Jayce and the World Warriors. Lightning strikes.